Welcome to ICU Video's procast coverage of the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic Basketball Tournament from Ross Shepherd High School in Edmonton. Good evening, friends. I'm Kevin Donnan, and I'm proud to bring you the call of tonight's championship games from Edmonton's birthplace of basketball, the T-Bird Gym at Ross Shep. As part of our Totem Hoop Championship doubleheader tonight, our first game is in the women's championship draw and features the title matchup, the Foothills Falcons of Okotoks against the Magrath Pandas. This is an ICU Video Productions broadcast. We have Dave Foley, Liam Johnson, and the rookie Odell Nelson on camera. Kevin Kyle is our switcher, and Rob Zitlaw is our executive producer and director. And we are very excited to be broadcasting this game from this fantastic gym and the 26th annual Totem Hoop Classic. And I'm very excited to be joined by Steve Sir once again. A man who needs no introduction in our basketball community here in Edmonton, and it's so great to have you along with us, Steve. And what are we to expect tonight? The story of the tournament has been the Pandas' defense.
Absolutely. I think with Magrath, if anyone's familiar with their area of the province and the kind of basketball that they play, you're going to see some kids that are very familiar with one another, have a lot of chemistry, grew up playing together, so they're going to play tough, they're going to play hard, they're going to play fast. Should be a really entertaining game.
And this is how both teams got here. Magrath, they defeated Archbishop Jordan 57-36 and defeated the host team, Ross Shepherd, 69-31. So they've held their opponents to under 40 points, Steve. And as a basketball player and coach, coaches love defense, and Magrath is certainly paralyzing their opponents.
Well, one of the things that Magrath is normally known for is they have kids that can really shoot it, put the ball in the basket, but an interesting dynamic will be tonight how Magrath is able to defend, and will they be able to keep that going forward like they've had the last two games.
Starting lineups being announced here for Magrath. We do need, you know what we do need is we are looking for the Falcons introductions here, and as we go along, these Foothills Falcons, how did they get into the final? They defeated Spruce Grove 65-49 and took down Leduc in last night's semifinal 69-60. So, and in terms of the Foothills Falcons, you have to mention one name, certainly. I mean, it's a team effort, but Brooklyn Baker has been the player of the tournament so far.
Well, right when you come into the gym, one of the first names that you hear from people and who you should be watching for is Brooklyn Baker. She's been tough in both of their games so far, and not just tough, but she's filled up the stat sheet. So I think for everyone watching, you have to keep an eye on her, but I think you're going to have no choice. She's going to probably have a really strong game here.
And we are underway, the women's title game here in the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. Here on the near side, that's Haley Dunham. Back out to Brooklyn Baker. That's the player to watch for the Falcons. The offense and the spirit of that team runs through number one. Turnover already here early in the first quarter, so we will have Magrath on the inbound.
You can already see the pace that Magrath's going to want to play with, even just off that first possession. They're going to get quick, and
long
then they run
inbound,
a really
beautiful
nice
play.
Inbound play.
Beautiful inbound play down low into the paint. And Magrath will shoot two. Magrath will shoot two here. As we mentioned, defense the story of the tournament for the Pandas, as they have held their opponents to under 40 points. Kicked back out now. Out to the perimeter, and the Pandas guilty of the 3-second violation, the three in the key. Pandas will press now early here in this first quarter of the championship game. Baker goes wide to Dunham. Ball batted out of bounds. Near side now. Down low in the missed pass. Here we go. The Pandas will run, but they'll slow things down. Magrath leads by one here on the foul shot. Near side. Want to welcome our viewers from Okotoks and from Magrath. joining us tonight on Championship Saturday night, and that won't go off the window. Rebound by the Falcons. Here's the rookie Sawyer Remington, who was so dominant in that semifinal. Remington, the grade 10 forward, the rookie forward, did a lot of the low post work for the Falcons in yesterday's semifinal. Here's Haley Dunham. Nice pass, good feed down low, but the Pandas with that zone defense force the turnover. Magrath up by 1. We're just underway here. ICU video. Glad to be here with you. 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. Here's the three-point attempt for Magrath, and it won't go. In the paint, and the travel called against Magrath. So at this point, both teams here just sort of seeing what they give here in terms of defense, offense. Magrath with that good hustle, that defense on display. Foothills Falcons, of course, earned their berth in the semifinal with a 69-60 win over Leduc. Enjoyed a big lead in the first half and held on for the late win. And there's a push, the foul called. Jenna Taylor of the Pandas, the guilty party. And Sawyer Remington will shoot 2. The rookie forward for the Falcons. The men's Falcons team from Foothills lost in last night's semifinal to Edmonton Christian. Of course, Edmonton Christian will take on the host Ross Shepherd T-Birds later tonight. The men's final will follow the women's championship game here at the T-Bird Gym and the 26th annual Totem Hoop Classic. Now both teams pressing on defense. Good press by the Falcons. We saw that last night early on against the Leduc Tigers. And a big steal here by Brooklyn Baker, and she'll run. There's the lay-in and the charge on Baker. So pretty good defense by the Pandas there as the Panda guard sets and draws the charge. So once again, great fundamental basketball by the Magrath Pandas. Far side now. That's Ellie Wild. Here's number 5. And the travel called. Check that number 9. That travel called on Ellie Johnson. So here we are, nearly 3 minutes in, and we've only got 1 point on the board. So we're in for a defensive battle here, Steve.
Well, we mentioned at the beginning, one of the first things that people point out is Magrath's D, how they play tough. They're trying to close down passing lanes. You can see that already. They've stolen it a couple times. They've gotten a lot of deflections already in a pretty young game. So, yeah, if everybody likes defense, then you picked a good night to watch. There you go.
There's the steal by Lucy Wild, the point guard, number 2. She drew the charge against Baker, won't go. And they'll kick back with the fresh clock here for the Pandas. There's a three-point attempt by number 7, Montana Barazay. Great save of the ball along the baseline. Jenna Taylor. Another attempt along the baseline, and Brooklyn Baker will rebound for the Falcons and bring it back up the floor. Well, as you said, Steve, if you love defense, you're in for a real treat tonight. Points are going to be hard to come by because we have to say Brad Karen, the head coach of Magrath, and there's a nice lay-in. Oh, nearly goes. Ellie Wild just missed there. The head coach of the Magrath Pandas is Brad Karen. The head coach of the Foothills Falcons is Vince Hunter. And anytime you have great defense, that tells you you've got two coaches who are very fundamentally strong and love to teach the fundamentals.
Well, one of the things that I think everyone resonates with basketball is you're going to have nights where you're not going to hit shots. Things just aren't going to sit down in the rim. But you can usually always focus on, hey, we're going to be good defensively tonight. We're going to play with effort. We're going to play with pace. We're going to play with toughness. And I think so far both teams are doing that, I think, for their confidence. So one of these, it's going to break open. A couple shots are going to fall, and I think the pace of the game will shift a little bit.
And great defense leads to good offense. So, and that's one of the hallmarks of this wonderful sport. Far side, now near side, there's the three-point attempt. And can't get it to go. That's number 2, Lucy Wild.
Magrath's running some really nice action, though. There's a few different names for it, but some people call it Europe's play, where they're going to send a cutter through and then they're going to stagger away. So they've been able to get a couple good reads off that stagger to start. I got to think, knowing what we know about Magrath and how the players play down there, a couple of those threes are going to sit down. So for Foothills, they're going to have to start figuring out how they're going to have to get through those screens.
14, Calla Taylor checks out for the Falcons. In now, Brogren Meyer. There's Magrath now down low, down in the low post. Had good work there by number 5, Jenna Taylor, the grade 12 forward. So the Pandas now back on the press.
Well, their coach before the game, Coach Karen, told me that they're going to press and they're going to push the tempo. So what have we seen? We've seen them press and we've seen them push the tempo, and they're taking open shots. So you got to figure at some point those shots are going to sit down. If you're the Foothill team, you're going to have to find your rhythm here.
Open 3 misses, 18 on the shot clock. Pandas up 3-0 here. Nearly midway through this first quarter, that three-point attempt falls short, and the ball is rebounded by Chloe Hunter. Of course, Chloe Hunter takes home a little bit of hardware and some bragging rights from the Totem Hoop Classic, as Chloe Hunter won the women's three-point contest. And there is a three-point shot from Brooklyn Baker. And Brooklyn Baker, of course, is the engine of the offense for the Falcons. And Steve, you know a little bit about the three-point shot yourself there. NCAA record holder for three-point percentage, and you love a good three-point. No one loves a tray more than you do.
I do enjoy a good three-pointer. So the great thing in watching Chloe take that shot right there is you could tell when she caught it, her intent was to shoot. And I think for everybody who shoots the ball, a great bit of advice you could get and a good thing you can pay attention to when there's a good shooter on the floor is your first catch and your first look has to be eyes on the rim, and Chloe caught it in rhythm and let it fly.
Brooklyn Baker checks out. Grace Fisher comes in. She's the rookie guard, the grade 10 guard. Quality minutes last night in the semifinal, and the foul on number 7, Chloe Hunter, the grade 11 guard, and Magrath will check it back in. So we do have a tie score just midway through this first quarter. Kevin Donnan along with you, and joined by Steve Sir here at the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic, the 26th annual edition. So glad you're along with us and want to show you some of our highlights from our full ICU video crew. Some nice work down low there by Jenna Taylor. And there is Brooklyn Baker with that step back three and beautiful form there.
You could see it right away. It got a little bit botched where the player getting the catch didn't quite get it, but she found her shooter. And then Chloe was able to just do what she does best from the sounds of it, just shoot the ball.
Now, both teams, they've had a chance to watch each other a little bit through this tournament. Right now, it is what we expected, 6 points in 5 minutes. And for now, I guess, with the coaches, what are you talking about right now? You're talking about the formula. Obviously, you have to start thinking about your depth, too, in a short tournament like this, because you've played a lot of basketball in about 72 hours.
Well, you have to give a little bit of understanding, I think, to both teams on, hey, well, why has it been a slow start offensively? It's their third game in 3 days.
Sure.
There's probably a little bit of nerves. You are playing in a final. This is the first tournament for these kids on the season. So you are starting also to get the maybe get the rhythm of things, because most of what you've seen so far has maybe been scrimmages and practices.
You practiced, you can only practice so much, and then eventually, you have to start getting into game shape, really.
Absolutely.
And you get tired of playing against your teammates too in practice.
Absolutely, and you're still getting your legs. I mean, I know that when you come into the season, you want to be in great shape, you want to be sharp, but there's no simulating 3 games in 3 days like playing 3 games in 3 days.
Absolutely.
So this is a big. This is a good start for these girls to get their season going of building that chemistry together.
Number 1, Ellie Wild, makes both of her shots. Pass down low to number 10, Brogren Meyer. She can't get a handle on the basketball, and there is a turnover. The Pandas will inbound. Both teams pressing. Both teams Very dominant defensively, and there was the pass just behind number 14, Carly Blackmore, the grade 10 forward. So there is a little bit of nerves here tonight, Steve. Of course, it is a big tournament. You're out of town, and you've got folks watching at home, and you got folks traveling with you. So that's why we see. I think that's why we see, two very competitive, very strong teams. Both of these teams will be in the equation for provincial titles. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
But right now, there are some nerves right now.
For sure. I think the play that just happened with Magrath, they broke the press really nicely. And
there's a long distance three-pointer, and why not? She's the champ, yep. Chloe Hunter. That was from a long way out.
A lot of confidence in that shot. That's pretty good to see in the first quarter.
Great stuff from the three-point queen here in the Totem Hoop Classic, and had a great night last night in the semifinal. And here is number 6, Haley Dunham. Haley Dunham had a busy semifinal, doing lots of work on defense. There's Chloe Hunter again, and nearly connects from downtown. Great save of the basketball by Grace Fisher. That's the rookie, the grade 10 guard. Now near side, here's Haley Dunham. She'll kick it over. Once again to Hunter. Can't leave her wide open. Steve, if you give her the room, she's going to bury it.
Well, you can clearly tell that her teammates are looking for her to shoot. Like they're penetrating, they're trying to find her in that zone. And I mean, there isn't a lot of things that break a zone up quicker than someone hitting outside shots. So Chloe's she's living up to winning that three-point contest early.
Montana Barazay, the grade 12 forward, connects. Great defense by Barazay, number 7. Big turnover for the Pandas. And there's a baseline shot, too long. Battle for the basketball. And the Pandas will retain possession. Been impressed by Montana Barazay, Steve.
I think with Magrath, they're doing everything that they're going to need to be doing to put themselves in position to win the game. Force the tempo, shut down passing lanes, trap early, and try and get people into the corner. So far, it's resulted in some pretty good opportunities from on offense. You got to imagine, though, that they're going to want to start converting those pretty soon here.
Battle for the basketball in the low post, and it is Brogren Mayer, the grade 12 forward, who wins that battle. Now checking in for the Falcons is number 9, Michaela Porteous. And Haley Dunham takes a seat on the bench.
There's been a few plays so far on this press that I bet in a month both teams won't be doing, where they're just kind of missing fingertips with passes. They're just missing eye contact with teammates. I bet in a month, as they play more and the things start to tighten up, those are going to be things you see changing with both these teams.
Here's Porteous, number 9. She tries to get the pass, and the battle for the ball wrestled free. And the steal by Jenna Taylor. So both teams pressing.
That's a good find.
That was a great nearly connect for Barazay. And the Pandas will retain possession here, trailing by 2. 2:28 to go in the first quarter.
I got a feeling Barazay is going to get on track here. She's taken about 4 or 5 shots that have been close. Her teammates look for her, so clearly she's expected to make those shots. I'm hoping she gets on track here pretty soon because she looks to shoot, and so you know that there's got to be faith in that jump shot.
And you spoke with Brad Karen before the game, and they're missing, the Pandas right now are missing one of their best players, and there's a nice passing play underneath the rim. That's number 5, Jenna Taylor. But the Pandas dealing with a pretty significant injury tonight.
Yeah, they mentioned that Lauren Payne,
another battle for the basketball and defense, and the Pandas retain possession here. Another steal for Magrath. Go ahead, Steve.
I think for Magrath, they're missing someone like Lauren, who the coaches both spoke about being their leader, their top player. So I think for the Pandas, maybe there are some opportunity minutes here for players that wouldn't otherwise have them if Lauren was in the lineup tonight.
Here's Chloe Hunter bringing it up far side now. Nice ball fake. Little runner, but a big block. And there's number 5, Jenna Taylor. And the big block from the corner on number 3, Grace Fisher. And Grace Fisher tries the runner, but the veteran, Jenna Taylor, number 5, the grade 12 forward, with the big block. And that can be a big play.
I think that can create some excitement for Magrath. You can see that a couple couple of them are hanging their head on some shots that they feel like they should have made. So a block or something to get their rhythm and excitement level back up and not thinking about the plays that they didn't get. Because a lot of their stuff, same with Foothills, it's been right there. It's just nerves, maybe some fatigue. A block always helps.
Never hurts to lift the spirits of the bench with a block, especially. And here we go now. Magrath pass nearly gets through off the hand of Chloe Hunter. Tie ball game here. 1:41 to go in the first quarter. ICU Videos Procast of the 2018 Totem Hoop Championship, and there it is. Just great fundamental basketball. Good inbound from number 8, Maddie Cook, down to Jenna Taylor again.
Foothills is going to have to figure that one out because McGrath's got 11 points, and I think 2 of those buckets have come off that play. It's a great look. Screen the screener, good action from McGrath.
Falcons retain possession, but every time a Falcon touches the basketball, there is a Panda right there.
Well, the coaches said before the game this is how they wanted to play. They wanted to press and force the tempo and create some confusion on the other side. So you can see that with McGrath. They're running, sprinting to spots. They're doing a lot of switching in their zone, but she's been shooting it.
And the three won't go for Chloe Hunter, but it's one of those situations, Steve, where it looks like the Pandas are setting the tempo of the game through their defense.
Absolutely. I mean, now you're seeing bonus, and I mean, a lot of that's coming from, I think, just the frantic pace that McGrath wants to play at. I think for Foothills, they've shown a little bit of press too, but just based off the first quarter alone, McGrath looks a little bit more comfortable in that press.
Jenna Taylor makes her first. Of course, the Pandas, as Steve mentioned, in the bonus, misses her second, and good rebound by number 4, Victoria Want, the grade 10 guard and forward. Her first action. She did not play in last night's semifinal. There's Michaela Porteous, another one of these rookies for the Falcons, and great give-and-go basketball there between Porteous and Madison Wood, but they can't make it happen. And here are the Pandas. It's number 2, Lucy Wild. Kicks it back out. There's the three-point attempt by Ellie Hoy. Ooh. It won't go.
You're seeing a lot of
loose ball foul here on the Pandas. Sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay. You're seeing a lot of drive and kick from McGrath. With the man defense that the Foothills have playing right now, that seems to be just the style that McGrath wants to play. Get into the paint, find the open player.
Great ball movement by Foothills here, and a nice bucket by number 14, Calla Taylor. And that's how you beat the press. You have to be able to pass the basketball. And the Falcons so far on that sequence did a great job. Here's just 2 there. Attempt won't go. That's number 8, Maddie Cook. And there is a foul away from the basketball. Ellie Hoy, the guilty party.
And we got the shooter at the free throw line. I think you got
We are in the bonus for both teams now. 7 seconds left in this first quarter.
I jinxed her.
Chloe Hunter at the line. She'll shoot her second. Won't go. Good save by the Pandas, who have 5 seconds left in this quarter. Got to get a shot away.
That's a good look.
He does and nails it. Number 4, Ellie Hoy, ends this first quarter with a big three-pointer for the Magrath Pandas. And that's the way you end a first quarter, Steve Sir.
Well, one of the best things that Magrath has done is they've kept shooting. So I think when you look at when you get a look like that, sprint to your spots, get your hand up, and get the shot up. As we look back on the highlights here,
there's Brooklyn Baker with that early 3.
Mm-hmm. I think
in those first 5 minutes where we only had 6 points.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from.
As you mentioned, yeah, that's true. Not a lot of highlights in those in those first 5 minutes, but as you so correctly predicted, things would open up, and the teams have gotten much more comfortable, especially in terms of shooting.
Yeah,
and we're seeing it here.
Right, with both teams playing press, you're having to see a lot of ball movement, a lot of quick decisions. Some of it's been a little slow to the draw. You see that out of bounds play that's worked for Magrath a couple of times, but there's a bit of a feeling that both teams are starting to settle in. There's the exact same play, exact same look.
And they have to have an answer for that because Calla Taylor right now down low on that play. But we've seen it all really in this first quarter. We've seen both teams with the ability to shoot and doing some great work down low.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go with that 3 at the end of the quarter and your score as we move into the second quarter here at the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic, the women's championship game. The Magrath Pandas lead the Foothills Falcons of Okotoks 15-11, and we want to thank all of our viewers for joining us literally around the globe. We had a message last night, an email from Grandma O'Brien from Ireland, Niamh O'Brien, a guard and forward for the Leduc Tigers. Her grandmother was watching last night on YouTube. We've had a few emails and comments from the United States. So the Totem Hoop Classic and ICU video, truly international, Steve. So it's been a great tournament, and for Edmonton in terms of the holiday season, this is as much a holiday tradition as Candy Cane Lane. So
very much.
It's just a great way to celebrate the sport and celebrate the holiday season right here at the T-Bird Gym, and we are returning to action as we begin the second quarter once again with the Pandas up 15-11. And again, welcome our viewers from Magrath and Okotoks joining us here on Championship Saturday night from the 26th annual Totem Hoop Classic.
That's a pretty cool thing. What an era you live in where you can have these games readily available, and a grandma in Ireland can watch their grandchild play.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. That's really, really cool.
Here we are with we got a little bit of a technical issue here just down on the floor. A little bit of water maybe.
Well, they got the experts working on it.
I was going to say last night we said, can we get the big mop like they have, in college, it's in the CIS, or we need the mop crew out here. This paper towel thing.
Nothing a paper towel can't
fix.
That's
right. That's right.
Well, here they come with the Totem Hoop towels.
And perhaps Johnson & Johnson would like to sponsor us one night.
Plug.
Great plug. There you go. See, we
plug.
can do a little business too. Just about to begin the second quarter. Kevin Donnan along with you, and Steve Sir here at the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. As we mentioned, we're not sure what happened along this near side, but we got everybody working down here. There's a great angle from the rookie.
Never let anybody
Odell
tell
Nelson.
You that refs are one-dimensional, because they're out there, they're cleaning the floors, they're calling the game. That's right.
And basketball referees have to be a little bit of everything. They have to be lawyers, judges.
The jack of all trades.
You bet. And I think we've got everything cleared up. I think it was when they were brushing the floor, I think perhaps there was something happened. But I think we've got it all straightened out now. Nice little extended quarter break for both Brad Karen and Vince Hunter. They are the coaches. Of course, Brad Karen, Ashley Karen are the coaches for the Magrath Pandas. Vince Hunter is the head coach of the Foothills Falcons. And the Foothills Falcons, the men's team, Foothills nearly had both teams in the championship game. Of course, the men's Falcons lost last night to Edmonton Christian in a very good semifinal game. And, of course, Edmonton Christian, the Lions will take on the host team, the Ross Shepherd T-Birds, at 7 o'clock tonight is when we'll have tip-off of the men's championship games. So I think we've got the floor completely dry now. Got to be careful with this gym, too. It's so pretty. You got to make sure that nothing happens to it.
You can't leave it in worse shape than when you showed up.
That's right.
Because they'll send you the bill for this place.
That's right.
This place is awfully nice.
It is gorgeous. It is the nicest gymnasium in Edmonton, without question.
I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find a better gym in Canada, personally.
There you go. And we're talking about a guy who's seen a couple of gymnasiums throughout this country through your experience. Foul called here. There's the nice pass to Calla Taylor, but there's a big collision down low. Montana Barazay. And there's that inbound over to Calla Taylor. Won't go. Good rebound by number 5, Madison Woodna. Good box out there on the baseline. Here's Michaela Porteous now, the rookie. Had quality minutes last night, but the turnover there. And the errant pass by number 5, Madison Wood. There's number 1 now, Ellie Wild. Kicks it over to Lucy Wild.
I wonder if they're related.
I would have to guess. And here's Berzay, number 7. Thought about the 3. 5 left on the clock. And a steal by the Falcons. Pandas lead 15-11. First minute of this second quarter. Expect a very tight defensive battle here.
That's what they want it with.
And there is the big 3 by the champ, Chloe Hunter of the Falcons. That is her second tray of the evening. Pandas now far side. It's number 9, Ellie Johnson.
Both teams move the ball very well. They do a really good job of trying to find the open player before they rush to take a shot.
Berzay tries the 3. There's the pass along the far side. Calla Taylor now on this near side to Porteous.
Oh boy.
And just off the hands of Madison Wood. And here we have fresh legs for the Falcons coming in. It is a 3-player swing. Maya Watts, Brogren Mayor, and Haley Dunham check back in for the Falcons. No sign of Brooklyn Baker right now, as she has been on the bench since midway through the first quarter. So we'll check on that at halftime, as Brooklyn Baker is the engine of this Falcons team. She's she was a tournament all-star at a tournament last weekend in Calgary, a preseason invitational tournament. So she was a tournament all-star. Haley Dunham was the player of the game in last weekend's consolation final in Calgary. So this Falcons team loaded with talent and a 1-2 punch, and it is Haley Dunham who steps out on the sideline on the far side, and that will bring about the turnover.
One of the things you notice with the Foothills team is they're doing a really good job passing the ball, but there is a bit of a reluctance to take a dribble. I think the Magrath players have done a good job speeding it up so that the Foothills girls are only looking for the pass.
And
you
the travel
might see
call.
a little bit more of a bounce to handle that pressure as Magrath continues to extend up the court.
Falcons now on that turnover on the travel.
There you go.
There's Victoria Want, number 4. There's Haley Dunham. Kicks it over to Want on the near side. It's number 11, Maya Watts. Down low, 3-second violation. 3 in the key, Brogren Mayor, the guilty party here. So
that was one of Foothills' better positions handling the press. They kept the ball in the middle of the floor and out of those corners that Magrath wants to force them to for their traps. There's that flex cut.
Down low right there and kicking it back out. There's Berzay wide open, but too strong on the shot. Ball goes off. Miranda Strati, the grade 12 forward, who has just checked into the ball game.
I'm hoping the next one that Berzay shoots, she makes, because you can see that she's really putting a lot of pressure on herself to get going, and so far it hasn't happened. So
there's
I'm
that.
She makes the next one.
There's some good hustle by the Pandas. Haley Dunham, number 6, and the travel again on Dunham. So once again, the Pandas, that defense, that smothering defense, is really kind of discombobulating the Falcons right now.
That's what you do. I mean, that's why you press, is you want the game sped up so that you're making decisions that when you look back on the game, or even when you look back on the possession before, you say, why did I do that? So for Magrath, it's a bit undersized. You got to think, hey, we're going to use what is our strength. We're a little bit quicker. We're aggressive on the ball, and we want to make them make some bad decisions.
Strati's pass just out of the reach of her teammate. And that'll force the turnover. There's good ball movement by the Falcons. Here's number 11, Maya Watts. Watts now into the paint there, and a miss by number 4, Victoria Want. And the rebound by number 7, Berzay. Pandas come back. And another turnover. And the inbounds in. Here we go. Brooklyn Baker back into the ball game. So contestant for tournament MVP. Certainly she has to be in consideration for tournament MVP, I would guess. Without any stats, Steve, I would suggest that she had at least a triple-double last night. And she was an absolute force out there. And here she is now bringing that energy, which the Falcons need.
Yeah, they're going to need
from
plenty
their
of that.
leader.
They're going to need plenty of that. I think you can tell Magrath paid attention to whatever happened last night, though, because they're trying to make her life difficult early on.
Doubling Brooklyn Baker when she has touched the basketball. And there's some good hustle. Down low, Ellie Wild. She'll kick it back out to number 2, Lucy Wild, and she will draw the foul.
The one thing
And she'll
Magrath's
shoot 2.
doing really well is whenever the Foothills team gets possession of the ball, if you'll notice, on the very next possession they'll probably do this. They're pushing up really far, so they're not giving the Foothills guards much chance to take a look at what's going on the floor. Let me take a bounce. They're right up there to apply pressure, and if you're talking about a 24-second shot clock too, that's milking off time when they cross half that they're going to have to run their sets.
Lucy Wild, the grade 11 guard, misses her first, makes her second. And the Pandas lead by 3 as we approach the halfway point of this second quarter. And that Pandas, you know, the Magrath teams we saw 2 years ago here in the final, the Magrath's men's team pulled off a huge upset in the 2016 edition of this tournament, taking down Ross Shep, you know, at the in the other, you know, during the renovations. And that Magrath team was known for a lot of things, and certainly the 2 hallmarks of that team were work and hustle, and those teams from Magrath, Southern Alberta, are known for that, Steve.
I think when you grow up in that culture down there, that's just, those are your non-negotiables. You're gonna be tough. You're gonna play hard, and you're probably gonna be doing it with a group you've known since you were little. So for, I think, us being up in the city,
nice open look.
You get a chance to see a pretty unique part of our basketball culture in Alberta, watching the Magraths and Raymonds and Cardsons come to the city tournament.
Number 14, Carly Blackmore with the open look and the nice shot. And really, when you think about it, that part of our province might as well be like our Indiana.
Very much so. That's that's our Hoosiers culture in Alberta. I think it's as unique as anything you'll find in North America.
Here's Haley Dunham now, far side, looks for Brooklyn Baker. Baker looks. Thought about the shot. Victoria Want wasn't quite ready to take that pass. She thought Baker was going to shoot that ball, and it's a turnover. And Ellie Wild will bring the ball up for the Pandas, who are up by 4 here in this title game. And right back, nice give and go play with number 3 for the Pandas.
Let's see if they run that out of bounds play this time. There we go.
Screen. And here we go. They're on the move.
They love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice fundamental basketball there and good rebound. And here's Brooklyn Baker. She'll be on the fast break, but she'll slow things down. Victoria Want now. There's Brooklyn Baker. Nice ball fake,
nice.
Little runner. And she hits from just inside the foul line. And Brooklyn Baker, you bet. They need her to heat up right now. And there's a nice steal by Baker. And she is the spirit of that Falcons team for sure. She is the engine, and certainly that she's given the Foothills team a big lift here.
You can tell just in watching the first quarter and a half, they need her to get going. I mean, the girls are looking for her to start hitting shots.
There's Stratty, number 15. Moving screen called on Stratty. She didn't set her feet. And that is her second personal foul. Miranda Stratty, the grade 12 forward. Here's Haley Dunham now. Back out to Victoria Want and nearly connects for 3. And there's the rebound by Stratty. And the play has blown dead.
We got a bit of a clock issue here.
I think we do. Referees noticed that the clock was not running. The score is 18-16 here in the championship game, so we are going to endeavor to get the clock issues worked out. This is our second unfortunate delay. We had a little bit of a water issue with a little bit of the equipment, and now we're down to 4 minutes, which is the right time. Yeah, I thought that's really one long quarter if there's only 9 minutes remaining. So they had me fooled for a minute, but I think we're just enjoying this game so much that we wouldn't mind to see extra time between these two high-quality clubs here, the Pandas and the Falcons. There's a big steal by the rookie Sawyer Remington, and the foul on number 5, Jenna Taylor. So the grade 10 forward on the fast break drives, but
you can see the Foothills girls are starting to figure out what passing lanes they need to be in, because the last few possessions you've seen them get their hand on the ball a lot more. They're getting deflections. The last one resulted in a steal. I think Magrath needs to start to look to have a few counters to how they begin their offense, or the Foothill girls are just going to start getting on those pass lanes, taking the ball away.
Remington misses her 2 shots, but she gets the rebound, keeps the possession, and she's right after the basketball, but there is the turnover on the missed shot by Brooklyn Baker. 3.5 minutes to go. Magrath Pandas in yellow, Foothills Falcons in the crimson uniforms. Pandas up 18-16. Here's Wild, number 1. There we go, the little runner into the paint. Won't go. Good rebound by Remington, but the ball stolen away by number 14, Carly Blackmore, and she wins possession of the basketball. So when that ball is loose, the Pandas are right there.
They don't follow the traditional miss the shot and sprint back on D. They're usually having at least one. There's their play.
Then there's that money play right there to number 5, Jenna Taylor. They're making it look easy with that play. There's a nice pass by Brooklyn Baker. Little 8-footer along the baseline, won't go for number 14, Calla Taylor.
I would bet that Magrath wants that shot, because you push it up super fast, you get a rushed pass into the corner, you take the first shot that you get. I got to imagine that if you're the Pandas, that's the shot that you absolutely want the Foothill girls
shot clock
taking.
winding down.
Get one.
There's the 3, and yes, right there, Montana Barazay from beyond the arc, 4-3, and you called it, Steve. Keep feeding her the basketball, and she's going to hit a 3, and there's some good work by number 2, Sawyer Remington, and the foul on Barazay. Remington will shoot 2, but as you mentioned, Barazay, they've been trying to find her with that open 3, and she hits.
You can tell is because her shot looks good. It really looked like it was one of those things where she just needs to see one go in. And out of all the shots that she took, even though that one was a right down to the end of the shot clock shot, that was the probably most in rhythm, confident shot she took, where it's just, I have to shoot it, let's get it up there.
And to her credit, I mean, she could have grown frustrated and even backed away from shooting. Yeah. But there's a lot of, no fear there in terms of shooting the basketball. And there's a great hustle play by the Pandas, number 14, Carly Blackmore. The near steal, and there's Barazay again, and can't get it to fall. Blackmore with the big rebound. Barazay now down to Taylor. Good runner inside off the window. Follow-up won't go. Rebound by Haley Dunham. And the Falcons trail by 5. A big rebound for Foothills. Here's Baker, number 1. Gonna take the 3, and it won't go. Rebound by Blackmore, number 14. And Magrath will bring it up the floor. There's the long outlet to Taylor, and she draws the foul from number 2, Sawyer Remington. So pretty good sequence for the Pandas, Steve, right here.
Well, she ran, the way that she ran the floor was fantastic. She really got out there and sprinted, had her eyes following the ball. And then one of the things that Magrath has done a good job of is that they haven't been shy of trying to headman and force it up the floor.
Also been impressed by their ability to not really telegraph passes either. They don't, they don't have that long look. They're looking for the open player all the time. And, the common term in basketball is one brain. You know, 5 people, one brain, and certainly the Pandas are dialed in, and there is a timeout called with 1:47 to go, and the Magrath Pandas up by 7 here at the palatial T-Bird Gym at Ross Shepherd High School in Edmonton, the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. And so far, Steve, we have 1:47 left to go in the first half. Give us your analysis of the first half and what you've seen.
Well, it's come down to what the coaches say how they wanted to play. Magrath said they wanted to speed it up, and that's when they've been at their best. I think when the Foothills girls have seen success is when the ball has found the players that you clearly are looking for them to make plays. As you see in the highlights here, the shooters that we were told before the game, hey, they can stick it. They're the ones looking to shoot. Magrath on the other end, they're looking to force the tempo, headman the ball, and then right when they hit a shot, their guards are climbing right up into you when the ball's inbounded. So, so far it's followed script. I think if Magrath gets to inbound it every time on the baseline, they're going to get a lot of good looks like you're seeing in the highlights. And if Berzé is able to get going with a shot, then I got to imagine if you're the Pandas, you're going to be pretty excited.
And if you're Vince Hunter of the Falcons, you're down by 7 with under 2 minutes to go. What are you telling your team?
You got to finish strong. I mean, you have to make sure that you're limiting Magrath to one shot. A few of their possessions that they've been able to get to the free throw line or get an inbounds play is just because they've gone after the ball and been on the glass. So if I'm them, 1, you got to handle the pressure, keep the ball in the middle of the floor. 2, you got to limit Magrath's looks. And 3, you got to shoot with confidence. Like, if you're going to shoot it, you might as well believe it's going to go in.
Falcons now with their best lineup on the floor. You have to think that. And there, nearly goes. There's Chloe Hunter, and Brooklyn Baker draws the foul on number 5. Jenna Taylor, and a veteran play here by Brooklyn Baker.
Well, again, before the game, coaches all said that how well she's played. You made mention of how well she's played. And the great thing about good players is even if their jump shot's not going exactly the way that they want it, they still find ways to be effective and still will find ways to contribute. So for her, getting on the glass, using a little fake, get to the free throw line, coaches always tell you, hey, if you need to get on track, get something easy. So why don't we get a layup or let's get a couple free throws.
And she makes both of her free throws. So as we mentioned, that smart play by the veteran Brooklyn Baker, and certainly the tournament MVP candidate, win or lose tonight. She's been so dominant. There's a great pass in to Blackmore. It won't go, and tough rebound there by number 14, Calla Taylor.
This is a possession that Foothills has to make something happen. There was no press. They had a chance to come up and set. Now they're in that zone. They have to find a way to either get it to the rim or find a good look on the perimeter.
And the travel on Brooklyn Baker there. She had the open look. Gave the referee a second look on that. 1:55 seconds to go. Falcons trail by 5 in a very, very entertaining first half, and a big steal here by the Falcons. There's the pass along the far side to number 7, Chloe Hunter. Down low, now kicked back over to Haley Dunham, near side. Brooklyn Baker, number 1, 8 on the shot clock. Over to Hunter, now back to Baker with 1 second left. Down the baseline, won't go, loose ball. And that's Wild, number 1, that's Ellie Wild. The Pandas nearly have a full clock, about an 8-second differential on the shot clock. Berzé now down low, kick back out to Berzé. Down in the paint, there's Blackmore with the little 12-footer that won't go, and the Falcons now have 10 seconds remaining to get a shot off.
That's who they want shooting it.
And there it is, near 3. Battle for the basketball, and the first half comes to a close. Your score, the Magrath Pandas 25, the Foothills Falcons 20, and it is exactly what we expected, Steve. Very, very low scoring, very tight defense, and we do have looks like we've got a technical foul here.
They called a foul right before the buzzer went. So if you're Foothills, get this free throw. This is always a great way to head into the half of you're the team that had the ball last and the last that saw it go through the net.
That's a tough one to make when you're all alone. Yeah, that's the loneliest. That's one of the loneliest places in sports. So there was that foul called right at the buzzer. So the score remains 25-20. I'm Kevin Donnan with ICU Video, along with Steve Sir here at the 26th annual 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. We are at halftime of the women's championship game, and we will be back with you in about 8 minutes time for second half action. Don't move a muscle. Stay with us right here from the T-Bird Gym in Edmonton. Welcome back to ICU Video's Procast coverage of the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic Basketball Tournament from Ross Shepherd High School in Edmonton. We are about to start the second half of the women's championship game between the Magrath Pandas and the Foothills Falcons. These Pandas own a 5-point lead over Foothills, and we are in for a sensational finish. Good evening, friends. I'm Kevin Donnan, and back along with Steve Sir, and a very entertaining. We talked about it, right off the start. This was going to be a defensive battle. The Pandas have been the story of the tournament in terms of their defense, holding opponents to under 40 points. We didn't expect that against the Falcons, but both teams have come to play here tonight, and both are playing smothering defense.
The guards for Magrath keep pushing up. I'm going to go on a limb and say that the Wild sisters are related, so they've done a great job head-manning that press. And Foothills have been the same, though. They've shown some pressure, and they've done a good job of getting in passing lanes and contesting shots for the Pandas. So I'd imagine we'll see more of that this half, and I got to go with more shots are going to drop for both sides.
Here's Haley Dunham from the corner. That corner three nearly goes, and Brooklyn Baker tries to snare the rebound, but ball travels out of bounds, and we will begin, of course, with these Magrath Pandas in gold, the Foothills Falcons in crimson, and these Pandas own a 5-point lead.
Nice.
There's a beautiful little backdoor play in the paint to Ellie Wild. She can't convert, but a nice pass with the back to the basketball for Magrath, number 5, Jenna Taylor, who's shown nice touch both in terms of shooting and in terms of passing in that first half.
Mm-hmm. You can tell with Berzay, it just is not quite clicking the way she wants it tonight. Everything's just a shade to the left. She had that one big three in the first half, but I got to imagine McGrath's still going to go to her, still going to try and count on her, and hopefully she'll just shoot herself out of it.
There's the return pass that somehow finds its way to Brooklyn Baker, and Baker tries to find number 2, Sawyer Remington, and here on the near side, and that pass travels out of bounds. Here we are in the first minute of the third quarter. Women's championship game. Glad you're along with us, both near and far, across the internet and across the globe. We've had great response from our viewers. Glad you're along with us. And there's the big rainbow and a nice save by Taylor, number 5, but no one to slap that ball to. And the Falcons will take over on this possession. So once again, we saw it in the first half, and both teams coming out a little tight here in this second half, much like we saw in this first half. Yeah, and the passing hasn't been crisp a little bit here in the opening 90 seconds or so, but that's to be expected. Yeah. It's a big tournament. It's a pressure situation. It's early in the season, but you definitely want to set the tone for the rest of the year.
And this is what you want for your players at the beginning of the year. You want them to have to figure these things out. If this is your basketball in March, all right, you'd be a little ticked off. But I think you want your girls understanding value of possession, making sure that passes are snapping and getting to the players that they need to be getting to. And one of the best ways to have them learn that lesson is say, hey, we're turning it over in the game. It's got to be better in practice, and we'll learn it from the next time we play.
Haley Dunham with the errant pass for the turnover, and now the Pandas. Nice ball fake, but good defense by the Falcons. There's the open three, won't go. Rebound by the Falcons, Haley Dunham. 2 minutes into this third quarter, and no scoring so far. So once again, two great defensive teams. That one won't go. Chloe Hunter. And the rebound by number 2, Lucy Wild. Hands it over to her sister Ellie here on the near side. That's Berzay. 4-3, Montana Berzay. That's her second tray of the game. And a big one here early in the third quarter.
And sometimes the defense does the offense or the shooter that needs a good look a little bit of a favor and just forget them in transition. So for Montana getting that good open look, let's see what that translates to for her.
Chloe Hunter had an open look from downtown, couldn't convert. Pandas rebound, and here's Wild, number 1, over to Berzay. Don't give her room to shoot. There's another ball fake by the Pandas, and big collision in the paint. And the Falcons draw the charge. That's number 2, Sawyer Remington, with the good defense and a pretty good collision right there.
Well, you got to give her credit for standing in there and taking that charge because, you know, as you can see during the replay, that stuff never looks like it feels good.
So. No, it never does.
Yeah.
And when you're in the paint, it is not for the faint of heart either.
No, and you got to give these athletes credit when they stand in there and take that tough one. That's one of those toughness plays that I think that coaches are always happy to see from their players.
And there's the blocking foul on the Falcons. That's on number 4, Victoria Want. Was not set, was moving her feet. And number 2, Lucy Wild, will shoot her second after missing her first, as she's short with that one. And number 14, Carly Blackmore, will check into the ball game. Number 9, Ellie Johnson, checks out. Of course, number 14, Carly Blackmore, doing a lot of good work in the low post. And a foul called here on the Pandas. That's number 1, Ellie Wild. Non-shooting foul, but Brooklyn Baker will inbound from early. And there's the telegraph pass to Wild, number 1. She'll wait for her sister. Her sister will lay that in beautifully, and Magrath have expanded their lead to 10 points now, a double-digit lead.
The Wild sisters do a great job of getting in those passing lanes. And not only that, once they see they have possession of the ball, they do a great job of sprinting the floor.
Haley Dunham, number 6, kicks it out to Brooklyn Baker. Brooklyn Baker playing the 1 now, operating the offense. There's Dunham, the shooting guard, and she will connect from 3. So a big response for the Falcons, Haley Dunham.
Coach made mention before the game for Foothills that Haley Dunham was a girl that the Foothills team really looks to for leadership. So being down a little bit, they're going to be looking to her for that.
Montana Barazay, a nice about 12-footer from along the baseline, and Pandas would love to see her get hot here in this second half.
That's not where you want the ball.
Like you said, not in that corner. That's a bad spot to be, and that's where the Pandas want to force the ball down. And there's a good, tough rebound by Brooklyn Baker, battling with number 14, Carly Blackmore.
If you're the Foothills team, you want to keep that ball in the middle of the floor. The cardinal sin against a zone like Magrath is to dribble baseline and pick it up. So you want to make sure that, hey, if we're going to dribble baseline, it's going to be for a shot or to find somebody else's shot, not to put it down and then turn your back.
9-point lead here for the Magrath Pandas. We're in for a great finish here in this championship game, and there's the hoop and the harm. Number 5, Jenna Taylor, down low, and she has really been a force in the paint here in this game tonight. Down low in the low post, Steve. Number 5, Jenna Taylor, has been all that for the Pandas.
Yeah, she's been that player. When you look down the roster of Magrath, they're not a big team, but she's done a great job being underneath there. If there's a loose ball, she's going after it. If there's something to get off the glass, she's in there making a play on it. So for her, she's been a great leader doing the scrappy things for the Pandas tonight.
Montana Barazay will inbound. Back out to number 2, Lucy Wild. She's got an open 3, won't go. Blackmore kicks it back out. Right at the foul line. Open look for the Pandas, won't go. And there's the rebound by Haley Dunham, and she will send it over to Brooklyn Baker, who will bring it up the floor. Here to Dunham on the near side. Back out to the top to Brooklyn Baker. Maya Watts back in the game for the Falcons, and she loses the handle on the basketball as we are at the midway point of this third quarter. The Magrath Pandas up by 11. Of course, these Pandas got here with victories over Archbishop Jordan, 57-36, and they took down the host team 69-31. They beat the T-Birds rather convincingly in the semifinal to earn their place here tonight. And there's the runner by Jenna Taylor, number 5, and battle for the basketball, and it will be Carly Blackmore on the loose ball foul.
If you watch on this next possession, one of the impressive things to pay attention to for the Pandas is the Wild sisters at the top of that zone. They are running all over the place. One of them falls back, the other gets to the ball. They put such a such a huge amount of pressure on the ball, and they're never standing still. They're constantly moving. They're constantly getting in passing lanes. If you're the guards for the Falcons, you got to be thinking pass fake and drive pass, because what the Wild sisters are looking for you to do is to get that ball and just pause with it so they can get there and pressure you.
Somewhere Jim Boeheim is smiling with
he loves them.
That 2-3 zone right here, and the Wild sisters. And there's a beautiful lay-in, a little up and under there by number 2, Lucy Wild. And there they are. Look at the swarm to the basketball and forced turnovers. Here's Blackmore, number 14. She'll stop. Off the window, won't go. And the Falcons, referees will take a look at the possession, and it will go to the Falcons. Haley Dunham will inbound. Magrath now starting to exact their will a little bit offensively as well. As we mentioned, good defense leads to opportunities, and here we go. That Magrath defense and the big lay-in with the foul. It's number 1, Ellie Wild, and right now, as you mentioned, the Wild sisters right now are taking over this basketball game, both defensively and offensively, and with some really critical steals at some big moments here. And of course, the Foothills Falcons call a timeout. And here's that play right here, Steve.
Well, first they find their shooter.
Take a look at this shot first,
And you got to think, if you're Montana, that you say, oh, man, this is great. No one even knows I'm on the wing right now. So that's a good way for her to get going. But the Wild sisters, I mean, if anybody is watching and wondering if it's a good idea to have hands up on defense, watch them the rest of the game. Their hands are constantly up, and just as a result of that, they're stealing the ball, they're deflecting the ball, they're getting opportunities for their team. And all of it's just been based around effort. They get to their spots, and they bug you when they get there.
And it seems like the Pandas are keeping the Falcons on the perimeter as well with that high zone and keeping the Falcons at bay. We're seeing, Brooklyn Baker and Chloe Hunter and Haley Dunham, they're having to take long-range shots, and the Falcons are really struggling getting the ball down low.
I can think of one time that Baker's had a good, clean look, and that was in the first half where she made a nice fake, took a step in, and good in-rhythm dribble pull-up. Outside of that, everything that she shot has been contested. The same thing with Chloe Hunter. She's having to either get pushed further behind the line, or she's getting a contested three at the line. When you play a zone like this is exactly what you do it for, is you want to make sure the ball stays on the perimeter. There's not a lot of inside touches. There's not a lot of attacking the paint. So if you're Magrath, you're thinking, hey, we're in the best spot possible. There's still a lot of time left. And I think if you're the Foothills team, you got to be thinking, guys, let's get to the rim a little bit. Let's see if we can get to that free throw line some, and then we'll find some open jumpers.
Maya Watts loses the handle on the basketball. But she will inbound here on this near side. Referees conferring before this inbound, 3:50 to go. Falcons down by 15. They've got to get some momentum going their way, because right now the Pandas own all of it. And a big turnover here with 3:46 to go. We've seen this Falcons team. They're a scrappy team. Up against Leduc last night. Dominated early, but had to close it out late, and certainly did that. There's the step back near, and that is a three for number 2, Lucy Wild, from that far side. And the Pandas right now are in control. Here's Haley Dunham. Battle for the basketball. Good hustle by the Falcons, number 10, Brogren Mayor. She'll get the return pass off the window. And nice touch by number 10 of the Falcons.
If I'm the Falcons, you want to try and get a little bit more of that, where the ball is getting into the post to at least make the zone shift for their attention from the perimeter.
Montana Barrezay from downtown. And Barrezay starting to heat up in this second half. And Barrezay picks up the foul on Haley Dunham right below our broadcast location. And the Pandas now have opened up a big lead. The Falcons only just 5 points here in this third quarter, 2:51 to go. And the Pandas now up with a comfortable lead by 19. But this Pandas team is forcing turnovers and really working hard. Number one, Ellie Wild.
Well, what they've done is I think they've caused the Foothills team to play at a pace that they don't really want to play at, because now you're seeing the Foothills girls pressing, and that doesn't seem to be what the Falcons set out to play like. And also, too, if you're pressing, then that means you're probably playing the style that Magrath prefers. If Magrath plays this way, then they practice this way. So the odds are they've broken a press in practice. So if you're the Foothills, you got to stick with what you know. And if that means you maybe do a little bit of trapping, okay. But the pace of the game, they have to remember what their pace is, not the, hey, let's try and speed it up and go after Magrath at their pace.
Falcons retain possession after the jump ball. Down by 19, and if you're looking up the word relentless in the dictionary, you'll have the Magrath Pandas logo right next to that word, because their defense, and they absolutely as advertised, they came in with 2 very strong games defensively, and they have not disappointed their fans and supporters and their coaching staff in terms of being able to force turnovers against this Falcon team.
This is the Magrath basketball culture, though. When I was little, I remember I watched the Magrath team play the Raymond team in the provincial final, and I was blown away at how aggressive they were. So this is basketball in Southern Alberta. Like, you come to play this style.
Number 14, Carly Blackmore with the tough work down low. Nice little 3-footer.
And you see the Wild girls right after that ball goes through the hoop, they're right up in there. They're bugging you. They gave a foul there, but you know what? Like, if I'm Coach Karen, I'm all right with that foul. Even though they're shooting, I'm all right with it, because they're not letting up, even though the score is starting to go more and more in their favor.
Both teams in the bonus here. Madison Wood will shoot 2, and she gets her first to go. Wood will shoot her second and won't go. Rebound by Blackmore. Here come the Pandas. And number 1, Ellie Wild, the point guard. In the paint now, driving, and a nice lay-in that won't go for the Pandas. Top of the key now. Oh, and a big foul. It's number 10, Brogren Mayor. Bringing the wood in the paint there. Number 2, Lucy Wild, will shoot 2, and we've seen a couple of big collisions in the paint, and both of these teams don't tell the Falcons they're down by 20.
No, there's still a lot for them to play for. I mean, this is a 20-point game heading into the fourth. They got a minute and a half left.
And it's basketball. You can make that up in no time at all, really.
Well, one of the things that you do have to point out is with pressing teams, you are going to give up baskets. So if you're the Falcons, you just got to make sure in a case like that, you got to get those to go if you're going to have a shot to get back in this
Haley
game.
Dunham down the baseline won't go. There's a battle for the basketball. And Mayor, number 10. Possession arrow goes to the Pandas. Brooklyn Baker will check back in for the Falcons. And for the Pandas, Ellie Hoy, number 4. And literally everyone up and down the lineup in this Pandas lineup, everyone could shoot the basketball.
Yep. And see how they do such a good job of, they bring it to the side and then they bring it back to the middle and then rush a player into the middle for that release. Again, you can tell with Magrath, if you're going to press them, they're going to have their counter to it. So you got better hustle those spots.
Pandas remain on the press, and the foul called on Ellie Hoy. Brooklyn Baker will shoot 2 as the Falcons, both teams are in the bonus.
Now you're the Falcons. If there's layups, if there's free throws, the rest of the way you need all of them.
You have to draw fouls now.
Yeah, and you need every one of these free throws.
Take those easy baskets where you can when you're in the bonus. Brooklyn Baker, and a very talented free throw shooter.
She's got a good stroke.
Absolutely, and as we mentioned, without the benefits of stats, I'll tell you, I'll bet the farm. I'll bet the farm that Brooklyn Baker had a triple-double last night. Here we go now, far side. Here, kicked up to the top.
And if that's the case, in a basketball career, that maybe happens once, twice.
Sure.
I mean, that's a special game. So, I mean, if that's the case for Brooklyn, that's a real good start to your season.
Chloe Hunter can't connect from beyond the arc. And the Pandas will take possession of the basketball here. About an 18-second differential on the shot clock and the game clock. Big steal by Brooklyn Baker, and that's the kind of play that the Falcons need to close out this half. Taylor now kicks it back out to Hunter, number 7. The three won't go. Battle for the basketball in the paint, and the Pandas will try to fast break, and Falcons will retain possession here with 15 seconds left, and they will have that for the remainder of the quarter. They'll have that for the shot clock, and as you mentioned, there you go. Get your best free throw shooter to the line, put the basketball in her hands, draw the foul, and see if you can cut this lead down to 16 going into the fourth quarter.
Well, what are the risks that you're going to have if you're a pressuring team and you say, hey, if we're up or we're down, we're pressing? When you get into that bonus, and if the other team starts to get a little bit wise, they're going to know, you know what, if I attack the basket and I put the pressure on this defense to still be having an aggressive pursuit of the ball, then I got to up my chances of getting to the free throw line. And right now, if you're the Falcons, the free throw line is your best friend. You want to live there for the rest of the quarter.
Nice little runner by number 14, Carly Blackmore, the grade 10 forward, and hits it!
Oh,
number 7, Chloe Hunter, closes out the third quarter with the buzzer beater 3.
All right.
And why not? Chloe Hunter.
All right.
From downtown. She hit that thing from West Edmonton Mall. What a beautiful shot by Chloe Hunter to close things out in a highly entertaining third quarter, with the Pandas up 48-33. And
that's a great finish.
That was fantastic.
That's
and I'll tell you, Steve, that was a no-doubter. I think from the minute it left her hand, she knew that thing was going.
You can almost kind of tell.
When you feel it, right?
Yeah, and that's probably the easiest look she's gotten the whole game with that zone of just being able to actually dribble the ball and shoot it. And that sounds ridiculous, shooting from half court. But again, though, if you're the Falcon team,
what did that give you a lift?
That gives you a lift. You're down 15. That is not an insane amount of points to come back from, especially when you're heading into that huddle with all smiles.
But what do you have to do now if you're the Falcons? How do you erase a 15-point deficit?
You got to stick with what is getting you back in this game. You're attacking the rim. You're gonna not maybe have a bunch of half-court three-pointers the rest of the way.
But those don't happen a lot.
Those are not always the constants. But
sure.
You know what you need to do is you need to rely on the things that are shaving this down. Get to the rim, get to the free throw line, and then capitalize on your opportunities when you do get them. So if you're the Falcons, you just got to trust it that it's going to be.
And here we go.
That's a great-looking shot.
Isn't that fantastic? Right there, and it was absolutely a no-doubter.
Love it. That's fantastic. And if you're her, I mean, this is again one of those ones where if I can get a layup, if I can get a couple free throws to start feeling good, man. If you're not going in the fourth quarter feeling good about a half-court buzzer beater, then there's not much else that's going to light a fire under you.
And that's probably what Vince Hunter is talking about. Is like, you know what? Let's just, let's drain the tank now with 1 quarter of basketball left. The Falcons have had a very successful preseason, and if you're the Magrath Pandas, how do you close this one out? Do you maintain the formula? And of course, you have to worry a little bit about fatigue maybe. I mean, you can't press forever, but boy, this Pandas team is in terms of their fitness level is off the chart.
Well, especially the Wild Sisters. I mean, they've been able to maintain a pace from the jump, and this will be the interesting quarter because there is something to be said mentally of keeping the pace when you know you're up 20. When they start to shave away at that and you're worried about fouls counting for more now, you're going to have a little bit more hesitation, but that's a good way to get going.
But then, yeah, that never hurts to have Montana Barazay connecting from beyond the arc. That's her third three-pointer of the half. And there's the up and back against the Falcons. So Barazay, as we mentioned, the Pandas, literally everyone up and down the lineup can shoot the basketball. But Barazay, who had some struggles late in the first half, has now really taken over from the outside.
Well, it's nice to see her get going a bit because you could tell early, even when she was missing, that she's someone that can shoot the ball. So second half rolls around, she gets a good open look to get going, and now she's got 2 more under her belt. I mean, you know, I got to imagine if the team keeps playing that zone and Magrath keeps up the way that they're playing, they're going to be looking for her.
Wild can't connect from beyond the arc. Here's the Falcons now. There's Taylor. And there's Chloe Hunter from three-point range. Can't go. And the Pandas will run. Wild can't convert. Battle for the basketball. And the Falcons get possession of the ball here. Baker to inbound. Down by 18 here. Opening minute and change here in the fourth quarter of the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic Women's Championship game between the Magrath Pandas and the Foothills Falcons of Okotoks.
Yep.
And there is the foul, the push on number 1, Ellie Wild.
And that's been something at all levels of basketball that referees I know have been instructed to pay extra close attention to this year is protecting the shooter. You see in a lot of games there will be people that won't bother the shot, but they'll do things like step underneath. They'll climb right up into you once you've finished your shooting motion. And I know at the FIBA game, refs have been told, hey, when the shot is left to hand, that doesn't mean that there isn't still stuff going on. So that's a good call.
She can shoot from the outside, and she lays that one in. That's Montana Barazay.
That's not where you want it.
And there's right there. You're trapped on this near sideline, and the foul on Barazay.
You're better going. Oh boy!
Timeout called.
I think that's a technical.
That is a technical, as Brad Karen just got dialed up for the tee.
I don't know.
And the Falcons will shoot 2 following that technical. So
I don't know about that one.
The Brad Karen.
We didn't hear
did not see eye to eye with the officials on that one, and
no, something tells us that he was upset.
A little. Maybe they can't quite agree. Travel call on Sawyer Remington, but Brad Karen, don't tell him his team is up by 19. He's, like the rest, and it's an actual indication of his team. Scrappy, tough team, and it won't go. But the foul call. But I'll tell you, Brad Karen has his team playing throughout this tournament. The Pandas have a lot to look forward to this season if this tournament is any indication.
Well, I can imagine that if you're going to go watch the Pandas, you're going to have a good idea of what to expect. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to attack the rim. They're going to find their shooters on the perimeter, and they're going to press the heck out of you.
And work and hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, the work and hustle, you can't you can teach that, but at the same time, like you mentioned, it's a culture. It's a culture in Southern Alberta in terms of basketball, that hustle, that it's in the DNA down there.
And it starts, I know we've been kind of harping on it, but it really starts with the Wild Sisters. If you're a pressing team, then it starts with the 2 people dictating the pace at the top of it. So, I mean, if you watch this possession, one's guarding the ball, the other gets to it, and they're sprinting. That's the
pass
best
by
look
one.
they've
That
had.
has been. Boy, the Falcons could have used that earlier on. That that give and go with number 4 Victoria Wan and Sawyer Remington, but that was certainly, as you mentioned, one of their best looks, and Falcons will retain possession here, down low, and it won't go. There's Brooklyn Baker battling for the basketball. Baker certainly, if she's not named a tournament all-star, boy, there's something wrong, because she has had an extremely dominant weekend here for the Falcons. It's 2 weekends in a row she'll be an all-star. And there's the nice follow-up by number 10, Brogren Mayor. Good work down low. 7:28 to go. 18-point deficit for the Falcons, but these Pandas are relentless. Baseline now, kicks back out. Off the window, won't go. And there's the rebound by Barazay. Good hustle by Montana Barazay, who's been a factor from beyond the three-point line. There's the drive, the kick out, and the stop, and won't go off the glass. Here's Brooklyn Baker on the fast break for the Falcons. Foothills now will retain possession after Baker loses the handle on the basketball. So things are going according to plan. That Pandas defense, they've held their previous 2 opponents to 36 and 31 points, and right now points hard to come by, but there's another great look for Brogren Mayor, who's had a strong game for Foothills.
If you're the Falcons, then you want to make sure that you're just constantly chipping away, so then when about the 3-minute mark rolls around that you're maybe looking at single digits. That could hurt that.
Barazay can't find any luck.
But those are the balls that the Falcon girls need to grab. Like those in-between basketballs on a long shot, they got to get in there and get their hands on those things.
Barazay thought 3, but Carly Blackmore with the 3-point shot. She's done some great work in the low post, but she finds the range from 3-point land. There's Brooklyn Baker with the runner. Short. Barazay rebounds. And here come the Pandas, led by number 2, Lucy Wild. Kicks it over to the far corner. There's the drive. Won't go, too strong. Rebound by Mayor. Brooklyn Baker will bring it up the floor. 5:45 to go in this 4th and final quarter of the 2018 Women's Championship game at the Totem Hoop Classic at Ross Shep in Edmonton. Barazay now across the floor. There's Blackmore with a nice touch, and Blackmore, who in the first half, there's a nice steal by the Pandas, but Blackmore, who's been known for a lot of work down low along the baseline, has really shown nice touch from the outside here in this 4th quarter.
It's funny how when you're out there just working hard, sometimes you even get a little bit lucky with the bank 3, but then you hit a shot like that, and then you keep working, you find a nice little open 15-footer. So it's amazing how lucky you get when you're just out there busting your butt.
Number 15, Miranda Strati, checks in for the Pandas, who there's Vince Hunter, the head coach of the Falcons, calling out the defense as the Pandas, and there's a long pass across the floor intended for Blackmore, and there's the steal, and it won't go
but she gets
for Ellie Wild. We've got a player shaken up here. That is Carly Blackmore, number 14, and maybe we can get that on the replay, but she is in considerable pain here right on the right on the 3-point line, and didn't see exactly what happened. Maybe we can pick that up on our ICU video procast replay. Blackmore, who's had a strong 4th quarter, she is holding that right elbow. And they're looking at the wrist and the fingers there, so not sure what happened, whether it was a collision with a teammate or an opponent, but they're working that wrist and that a little bit of that elbow. So, and it can be a dangerous thing when you hit the floor and you put your hand out to brace yourself. A lot can happen. So good to see number 14, Carly Blackmore, up on her feet. But when you're falling to the floor like that, and you get your hand out in front of you, boy, you can sprain a wrist very easily.
And she's been a worker tonight for the Pandas. So I mean, there are going to be those things where you're killing yourself out there like she has been, and then you wind up taking some bumps. So thankfully she's okay.
Tip of the cap to the training staff for both teams. Of course, volunteers aplenty in high school basketball, and Berzay can't get that shot from the corner to fall. But certainly, you know, volunteers are the heart of basketball, whether it be on the coaching staffs or the trainers or the managers. But
it's the glue.
Certainly that's right. They're the glue that hold a great team together. And so a big tip of the cap to the volunteers for both the Falcons and the Pandas.
They had about 8 people out there, too.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
More than enough help.
You bet. There's that press again, and there's Berzay, number 7. She'll drive the lane and lay it in, and Montana Berzay has had an outstanding championship game. You can certainly talk about her in terms of contending for the MVP award for this game, and Brooklyn Baker with the runner won't go. Hard work by Sawyer Remington down low. Mayor battling for the basketball, but the possession arrow will change. But certainly when you're talking about player of the game, Montana Berzay certainly, I think, would be someone that could earn a vote or two.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, she's got to have about 13 or 15 points this half, because she's hit 3 threes and she's got a couple layups.
What a great pass by Miranda Strati down low, but number 8, Maddie Cook, can't convert. Great touch by Strati on that pass down low.
Great thing the Magrath team's done, they've really spread it around. There's been some players that have had some good individual moments, but it's been a lot of team play.
Nice lay-in for Brooklyn Baker, but it won't go. And now you're seeing Brad Caron use his bench a little bit more with this 23-point lead. So the Pandas will take a look at their depth here in this preseason tournament. And, boy, that's going to be a fun bus ride home to Southern Alberta for sure. There's Miranda Strati with the nice move with the back to the basket and the good turn in the paint, but she can't get any luck there. And here's Brooklyn Baker, number 1. Down to Mayor, number 10, won't go. Haley Dunham tries the little bit of a wild shot, the foul on Berzay, and Haley Dunham will shoot 2 with 3:40 to go. Falcons trail by 23, and this Pandas team really pulled away in the third quarter, Steve.
Yeah, those shots that they were waiting on from Berzay, she was able to get a couple of those to drop. And then the front of that press just really started to wear down the Falcons girls. I mean, how many deflections and steals and open court opportunities came as a result of the pressure that the Wild sisters and the other girls that were working the front of the press for the Pandas. That's really where the separation came from. And then as you're seeing right now, the ball
movement
really
is
well
spectacular
for the Pandas team. They're finding the people when they need to find them.
Berzay for 3 and hits from the near side. And Montana Berzay with a cold start, but has warmed up the night here in Edmonton.
I think that's what we were all waiting on, because she was shooting it in the first half.
Nice follow-up by Haley Dunham, but she can't get any luck, and Sawyer Remington can't find the range from about 3.5 feet. So the Falcons running out of a little bit of luck, but Montana Berzay is the story of this game.
I think so. From the offensive perspective, yeah. The
Wild sisters on defense. And
absolutely.
Boy, that 1-2 punch on.
Yeah, they've been relentless.
There's a nice feed down low, but.
That's a great thing for anyone who struggles at the beginning of the game, is remembering that it's a long game. And if you are someone that hangs their hat on the ability to shoot the ball, then you have to always trust in one of the oldest things that people tell you is you got to keep shooting.
And for someone like yourself, like you say, who can shoot the basketball, it's about keeping that confidence even when times get tough. You have to believe in yourself, and that's something that you can say, hey, Montana Berzay was not afraid. She did not back away. She kept shooting.
Well, and you know what? That's what her job is. I mean, that's what her teammates expect of them. It may sound silly, but the selfish thing to do is to stop shooting, because your teammates are relying on you and expecting you to keep shooting, because that's just what you do best. So you gotta give a lot of credit where credit's due to teammates continuing to believe, and for a girl like Montana to just keep trusting that if I keep putting them up, they're going to start falling.
You have to want, if you're a shooter, you have to want the basket. You have to want the basketball. And I'll tell you, this Pandas team, 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Bit of a wild one there. And the Falcons will rebound. There's Haley Dunham. There's Chloe Hunter, number 7, the three-point champion of this tournament. There's Haley Dunham for 3, and that's short. Oh, what a great hustle move by Sawyer Remington. Inside 2 minutes, down by 25. Don't tell her she's trailing in this basketball game. That's a rookie, too. Played great in the semifinal last night. Here are the Pandas now. Miranda Strati will kick it back out. Here over into the corner now. That's Cook. And there's the steal by Haley Dunham. She'll run the floor. And the steal by the Pandas. Number 3 with the big steal for the Pandas. What a great play.
Good patience.
And what a beautiful demonstration of this championship game. These Pandas there is no quit in this team. 6 seconds left on the clock. Pandas using the clock beautifully here, and a little bit of luck never hurt anyone either. That's Ellie Hoy, the grade 11 guard for Magrath, with the friendly bounce there. Really, a little luck never hurt anybody.
No. And, thought maybe she was going to try for that one more time.
There's Miranda Strati, and a nice move in the paint by number 15. And you know what? Every coach will tell you, you make your own luck too. So for Ellie Hoy, the hard work by these Pandas, when that ball can fall like that, you do make your own luck, and it's a byproduct of hustle and defense.
And with the Magrath players, the great thing that they've done is you haven't seen them go away from anybody or go away from a side of the floor. If someone's open, they're usually getting a touch. So you got to tip your hat to their entire team of how they played tonight. If someone had the look, they were going to get their look.
Miranda Strati, the southpaw, she makes one out of, there's a steal by, boy, I've been saying that a lot tonight, by the Wild Sisters. And there's a nice pick, screen by Strati too.
They got to have, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be double-digit steals.
I can't
the two
imagine.
of them for sure.
And there's Hoy from downtown again, won't go. Near rebound by Strati, and there's once again a steal to retain the possession there. Not officially a steal, but just great hustle. There's Ellie Hoy, number 4, kicking it over into the corner. And Maya Watts, number 11, on that errant pass. And there's the long lead pass, but it's number 8, Maddie Cook, with the good hustle for the Pandas. And that will bring this championship game to a close. The Magrath Pandas have won the 2018 Totem Hoop Championship women's title. And we want to congratulate Brad Karen, Ashley Karen, the coaching staff of the Magrath Pandas, on winning this championship game, 68-39, and they did it again, 3 straight games, holding opponents to under 40 points. Steve, have you ever seen a team that can play defense like this?
Well, one of the reasons that Magrath did such a good job tonight was they never really got rattled in how they wanted to approach the game defensively. So their identity is, we're going to press and we're going to push up on you, and that's how we're going to make you pay. This is one of those games where clearly that's not the pace that the Foothill girls wanted to play with, but you really got to love watching a team play that has a strong sense of identity. Like, this is how we want to play. And they put on, I mean, hey, and it was all tournament, where if someone can't crack 40 points in a tournament against them, you got to say that those girls know how to defend.
And congratulations to Vince Hunter and the entire Foothills Falcons for an incredibly strong showing and a second-place finish here at the Totem Hoop Classic. They had a very strong tournament. Of course, Haley Dunham, one of the big players for the Falcons. And Brooklyn Baker certainly will be a tournament all-star for the Falcons. She was a real catalyst for this team. She missed some time in the first quarter. You have to think missing, some significant minutes probably played a little bit of a factor, in the Falcons losing this game, by 29 points. But this Magrath Pandas team is special, and I'll tell you, when the provincial tournaments start and we get into the provincial championships, the name Pandas will be heard again and over and over and over.
Well, you see a lot of similar defenses when you watch high school basketball. There's a lot of similar philosophies of you force to this direction, you force to these hands. What's so interesting about the Magrath team and how they defend is that is from tip to the end of the game, an extremely relentless style of pressure where they're all the way up into you, even above the free throw line, pressing you up and down the floor. And then when they settle into that zone, they're switching and exchanging and running out at you and keeping the ball around that perimeter. I'd be curious to see how they play against a team that has a more deliberate style of trying to get the ball inside. But that being said, the thing that they do well is make a team like Foothills forget about getting the ball inside and just keep the ball moving around on the wing. So for Magrath, you can tell that as this season goes, it's going to be a look that teams are going to struggle with as far as how do we break this zone.
We'll turn things over to our public address announcer for the trophy presentation and some awards. And well-deserved Brooklyn Baker. Just a tremendous player, and she is a tournament all-star. And they are the players of this game. Montana Barazay missed some open shots in that first quarter, but stuck with it and kept going.
Shot her way out of it.
And there is Ellie Wild.
That's very deserved.
As she receives an award for her play. And I can say that's going to be one fun bus ride home. So the silver medal presentations to the Foothills Falcons. The Falcons got here with victories over Spruce Grove. They defeated Spruce Grove Composite 65-49, and in last night's semifinal, they took down the Leduc Tigers 69-60. They fall short here, but an outstanding tournament for the Falcons, and they'll definitely be heard from again when the provincial tournaments come up next spring. And it's definitely some very strong performances for Vince Hunter, and no one on that Falcons team needs to hang their heads whatsoever.
No, I mean, the thing you have to do when you go away from a tournament like this, even though the final is not the way that you wanted the weekend to end, you did what you needed to do to get to the final. There's still many more positives than negatives that you take away from a weekend like this. And again, it's the second week of December. You want to make sure that you grow from this, that you improve, that you head into practice next week saying, hey, let's build on what we did right, and let's improve what we need to get better at.
And the experience to get the team together, both teams from out of town, you get to spend 24/7 with the team.
Yeah.
And the value of that cannot be understated. You as a player know that. In a tournament situation, you get to spend, day and night with your teammates, and in terms of bonding the team, this is a great way to start the season for both teams.
You need these experiences at the beginning of the year where you're away with each other, you're getting to know each other more off the court. The young players on the team need to get these experiences where they see how the older players conduct themselves, and then they get to come and play in a great venue at a tournament that has a really strong history, and go up against a team that you're not going to see in league play, and get an idea of what you need to improve when you play them again.
And here is the runner-up trophy for the Foothills Falcons. The presentation made. And the rookie, Victoria Want, she's got the trophy, and she's looking down the line at the grade 12 saying, aren't you supposed to be taking this thing? But a great night for the Falcons and a great performance by a team that has, that has 5 grade 10 players. So the future looking very bright for Vince Hunter. And there's Carly Blackmore, and that elbow and arm may be a little sore right now, but she'll forget all about it on that drive home to Magrath. And of course, want to remind our viewers here on this ICU video procast that coming up at 7 o'clock, or a little bit after 7 o'clock, we can say, we will have the men's title game with the Edmonton Christian Lions taking on the host Ross Shepherd T-Birds, and it's going to be a great game. It's going to be the Lions are definitely going to be in tough against the hosts, but it's going to be another exciting game like we just had. And here's number 1, Ellie Wild, receiving her gold medal along, and there's the Wild sisters there getting their gold medals, and there's the medal to Lauren Payne, who is the suffered a concussion at some point. We're not sure if that was pre-tournament or in the tournament itself, but Lauren Payne, grade 12 forward, gets her gold medal. So now the trophy presentation, and here are your captains. There's Ellie Wild, number 5, Jenna Taylor, and number 7, Montana Barazay, and the Magrath Pandas are the 2018 Totem Hoop champions and have captured the women's title. And the final score of the women's championship game was 68-39 in favor of the Magrath Pandas. And we're going to try and get some interviews here with the players and coaches, and we'll have a quick chat with Brad Karen. Get the coaches, we'll get the players, and we will get and there she is, the tournament MVP, Ellie Wild. And let's see if she's ready. Ellie, we're up here. Kevin Donnan and Steve Sir for ICU video. And you did it again, 3 straight games holding teams under 40 points. The defense was relentless, and you did it all tournament. Kind of give us a sense of just how proud the team is right now.
We're so excited. This was our first games of the season, and our first one was really rough, but we pulled out the W.
Ellie, talk a little bit about the pace that you and your sister play at, of being at the front of that press. You guys seemed like if you didn't get the hand on a basketball, your sister did. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are able to push the tempo with your pressure?
We both just love the fast-paced game, and without it, it just slows our whole offense down and the momentum. And so we both know that one of us needs to do that. So if one can't, the other will.
And Montana Barazay really, she struggled early on, but she kept shooting the basketball and shot her way out of it. Just how big were some of those shots that she hit in the second half?
They were awesome. They were exactly what we needed. Right time, right place.
Ellie, you put on quite a show defensively tonight, and one of the things that stood out was how well you guys played together as a team. You mentioned that these are the first games of your season, but clearly you guys have spent some time together growing up in your Magrath community playing ball. This has got to be a pretty cool way for you guys to get your season going.
Oh, it's awesome. Even though we're such a small town, it's a bonus because we're all so close and such good friends.
And how much fun is that bus ride going to be heading back to? You head back tonight, or you sticking around for one more day?
We head back tonight. Yeah, it's going to be a party.
I was going to say it's not going to be a quiet bus ride home. But first of all, on behalf of ICU Video and the Totem Hoop Classic, we want to congratulate you and your teammates and you on an MVP performance. And you've got you've got your coach coming in. But Ellie, congratulations to you and the entire team. The Magrath Pandas 2018 Totem Hoop Classic, but you've captured that title, but I think there are many other titles on the way for this team. So congratulations to you and all the best. And let's turn things over to your head coach, and we'll give him his 15 minutes. And
congratulations, Ellie.
And well, here he is. This is Brad Caron, the head coach of the Magrath Pandas. And Brad, I mean, 3 games, you hold your opponents to all three games under 40 points. Talk a little bit about the hustle and the work of your team in this tournament.
You know, it's Southern Alberta basketball. That's what we do. And we're a small school. You know, I think there's like 140 kids in the graduating class. So we have to do things better fundamentally. We have to play tougher. We have to be faster. We have to do all those little things. And so we focus 100% on our defense, and we feel our offense will follow that. And it kind of showed in the first half where we couldn't put the ball in the ocean. So we just focused on the defense.
Well,
we play better defense, and then pretty soon they start to drop.
Well, and I guess the other thing, get us Montana Beres. She had her struggles in the first half, but boy, did she get the hot hand in the second.
Yeah, that's her game. You know, she struggled a bit there in the first half, but she, for the season last year, I think she was a 44% three-point shooter, average 4 a game. So I knew she would get it going once she started getting open shots. I think it was just a little nerves. You know, this is a nice environment for us. You know, this is an awesome tournament, and they got a little nervous, and it took them a while to get kind of rolling.
Coach, we talked about on the broadcast the culture that you guys have for basketball down in Magrath, and I think for everyone watching, you see that where they grow up playing together. There's a very established way that you guys teach the game and play the game down in Southern Alberta. Can you share for anyone watching right now just what that means to be a Magrath basketball player?
Well, it's huge. You know, like you know, our kids in our school, because it's small, they're taught right from elementary school, like grade 1, kindergarten, that you someday might be a panda if you work hard and you get in the gym and do the things. And so they're just kind of brought up, you know, believing that someday they could get there if they work hard. And so, you know, they learn it from a young age, and they just keep going on and going on. And so for only having a small school, all the kids play, and they play hard, and they're competitive, and they really want it. And that's kind of what separates us from other schools, is that these kids really want to play.
Well, we want to congratulate you, Coach, and we know you won't be getting any sleep on the bus home tonight, because it's going to be loud, it's going to be fun. But your team has earned it. Congratulations to the Magrath Pandas. Wish you all the best going forward in the 2018-19 season, and thank you for a successful tournament and for giving us so many thrills here on ICU Video.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
By the way, you guys did a good
travels.
job. I mean, that was impressive. You guys are really good. Thanks, man.
Appreciate that very much, Coach Caron. So the final score of today's game was 68-39. The Magrath Pandas capture the women's championship here at the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. I'd like to thank my color commentator, Steve Sir, our cameraman, Dave Foley, Liam Johnson, and the rookie, Odell Nelson. Kevin Kyle is our switcher, and Rob Zitlaw is our executive producer and director. I'm Kevin Donnan. Thank you for watching the Ross Shepherd High School 26th Annual Totem Hoop Classic from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We'll have the men's championship game in just a few moments. Good night from the T-Bird Gym in Edmonton.